call the September 10th regular meeting of the Township of Fairfield Planning Board to order at 7:04. Mr. Berry, will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Galise.
Here.
Mr. Gasparini.
Here.
Councilman LaForgia.
Here.
Vice Chairman Waldron.
Here?
Mr. Spila.
Here.
Mr. Perino.
Here.
Mr. Palafonte. Mr. Dutcher.
Here.
Chairman Cafone.
Please join me in your salute to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of the time and date of this meeting was posted in the lobby of the municipal building and delivered to the Star Ledger and the Call of Progress. No case will be allowed to start its presentation after 11 p.m. Approval of minutes, July 9th, 2024, regular meeting. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. LaForgia,
Councilman LaForgia, Mr. Spila.
Mayor Galise.
Aye.
Mr. Gasparini.
Aye.
Councilman LaForgia.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Waldron.
Aye.
Mr. Spila.
Yes.
Mr. Perino.
I wasn't present.
Mr. Dutcher.
Aye. Mr. Chairman, before we memorialize the next, I would be remiss if I didn't mention by way of explanation why our chairman isn't here tonight. Nothing less than a tragedy. His nephew was passed away yesterday, and he was one of our own, one of our police officers, and I just wanted to get it out there that all of our prayers and our sympathies are with the family tonight. I just wanted to get that through before we continued.
Thank you, Mayor. Memorialization of Resolution 5-2023, Fairfield Land LLC and Fairfield Land 2 LLC, 635 and 643 Route 46, Block 3001, Lot 10s and 12, preliminary and final major site plan with C variances. Are there any comments?
Make a motion to memorialize, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Councilman LaForgia,
I'll second it.
second by Mr. Spila.
Mayor Galise.
Aye.
Mr. Gasparini.
Aye.
Councilman LaForgia.
Aye.
Mr. Spila.
Yes.
Mr. Dutcher.
Aye.
One 2024 Atlantis Group LLC, 336 Route 46, Block 1302, Lot 3 and 4, preliminary and final site plan, C variances. Are there any comments? May I have a motion?
I'll move to approve it.
Motion by Mr. Spila,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Perino.
Mayor Galise.
Aye.
Mr. Gasparini.
Aye.
Councilman LaForgia.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Waldron.
Aye.
Mr. Spila.
Yes.
Mr. Perino. Mr. Dutcher.
Aye.
Okay, moving on smartly. New business, 4-2023, 372 Fairfield Road LLC, 372 Fairfield Road, Block 2701, Lot 3, carried from August 13th, 2024. Is there somebody here that's going to make a presentation?
Yes, thank you.
Chair right here.
You want,
There's a chair right there. Just bring it over.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you. My name is Michael Maneri from the firm Maneri Law Firm here in Fairfield, representing the applicant, which is 372 Fairfield Road LLC. I have to my right Adam Al-Shami, who is the owner of 372 Fairfield Road LLC, and which, of course, as you know, is the owner of the premises that we're asking for approvals for tonight. We have the owner, we have four other experts to testify with respect to this application tonight. Very quick overview. I'm sure you know the building. 372 Fairfield Road is the Shami Watchmaking Building, just right down the road here on the right side. My client is just simply looking to put a second story on the building, basically going straight up. Our architect will indicate that to you. In connection with that, there are certain variances that are required. We have two variances that we see, one of which is impervious coverage, and the other was for the size of the sign. Your engineering report indicated some other variances, which we think we've kind of taken care of in our amended. We've taken care of with respect to how we'll make some changes, and we'll describe that tonight as well. So with that being said, I guess we could swear in my client, and we'll start the testimony.
sir, could you raise your right hand? Sure. Do you swear firm testimony you're about to give before the board is true so help you God?
I do.
And for the record, can you state and spell your name?
Adam, A-D-A-M, and last name Shami, S-H-A-M-I.
And you're the owner of the property
Yes, I am.
and the owner of the business?
Yes, I am.
I thank you. He's sworn as a factual witness.
Thank you. Mr. Shami, could you describe let's describe the business first. Could you describe what the business does at the location?
Sure. Well, we are third generation in business, so we're watchmaking, watch repair. We've been in business for over 75 years. We relocated in Fairfield 6 years ago. And what we do is we're authorized from a lot of high-end manufacturers that we do the repair in-house. So this is 90% of our business is watch repair. And then we custom make watches and we sell watches and jewelry to the public.
And Adam, could you describe why it is you're looking to increase the space from a one-story to a two-story facility?
Sure. It's to improve my business in watchmaking and custom work. I mean, there's new machines available in the market, like laser engravings, laser machines that take space. And if in my space now, there is no space for me to add into the machine. So I need second floor to get more equipment to improve my business.
Approximately how many employees do you have at that location?
13 people right now.
And what are your typical hours of operation?
It's 9:30 to 8.
Is it 9:30 to 8 currently?
Well, currently it's 9:30 to 6, but I'm planning on changing it 9:30 to 8 because we have some customers that they're requesting actually to be seen after 6 o'clock after they're like, you know, I have a lot of clients, they come from the city and then by the time they get here, it's after 6 o'clock. So we're planning on changing 9:30 to 8 o'clock.
Just so the board has a little better understanding, I think. You say you have people coming from the city. Like, what are they coming for? Why would they come to visit with you? What are they looking for you to do?
Well, we're very specialized, like we're a specialty business. We offer like watch repair for watches that nobody else can repair in our area. So we have a lot of people actually, they drive from the city, from Pennsylvania, from all over actually. And 90%, you know, there's a lot of people actually, we do a mailing customer, like they send their watch for repair from all over the country. But we still have people that they would like to come and see us to see what kind of repair that we would do, what kind of equipments we have to handle their expensive timepieces. So we're special, like, you know, not a regular jewelry store or a watch store. So that's why they would drive from far to come and see us.
You indicated, I think you indicated earlier, you do custom work. Do you do custom-made watches?
Yes, we do.
Could you explain that process a bit to the board?
Well, sometimes, we deal with a lot of collectors, and some collectors, they have a lot of different brands, but they want to have their own watch with a movement, like special movement, special dial, special case. We help them, we sit down and we help them and deciding what kind of movements they would get, and then we custom make the movement and the casing and everything else.
You indicated customers come to the location. What would you how often would you estimate that you have a customer in the store on an average day?
Well, it's hard to tell, but I would say like every couple of hours we get a customer. Because as I mentioned, I mean, we get a lot of customers, like timepieces by mail to service. But we get like every couple of hours, we get probably a customer.
On the set of plans that's been presented to the board, it shows an area in the rear with landscaping and pavers. Can you describe what your intended use of that area is?
Well, we're 13 people in the business, and it's nice sometimes for my employees, and when the weather is nice, to go outside and have lunch. Or sometimes we get customers that they drive from far and they want to wait for the repair. So it depends on the repair, but sometimes we do like a couple of hours turnaround time repairs, and it would be nice for customers to wait outside when the weather is nice.
One of the other issues that is we're requesting this board for variance for is the sign. Now, just to tell the board, we have the person who has designed and built the sign is here, so we'll get to the very specifics about the sign later, but I'd like my client to just give a brief overview of the signage and why he considers it an important part of what he's doing.
To tell the difference between a regular jewelry store or watch store and us and what we do. I mean, the sign I designed, probably you've seen it. It's all about like, the clock gears. So, you can see traveling on the road that this business is different business than a regular jewelry store.
And as I indicated, there'll be more testimony about the sign that we're proposing later on in the presentation. Adam, we discussed prior to this meeting some of the reports that were issued to us. For example, from the fire department, from the engineer. Would it be your testimony that you're looking to work with Fairfield to accommodate all the requests that are in the
Absolutely.
various
Yes.
Experts?
Yes.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Mr. Shammy, if I may,
Sure.
can you tell me how many employees are proposed with the new addition?
It's going to be almost the same employees. I mean,
Okay.
my plan is actually to stay with the same amount of employees. We grew through the years. When I moved to Fairfield, we were 8 people, and I added more people as we go. And now I have people that they're working on like the custom kind of work and in a tight spot. So like once I go second floor, same kind of employees, they're gonna have more room for them to be more creative and to work better. Because right now, I mean, if you come to my shop, you will see like very, very crowded, like with the equipments and with the stuff like that. And with the new equipments that I'm getting aboard, it's gonna be tough for me to put them on the same floor. So I'm thinking that we're gonna be at about the same employees, like the 13 people. Just I'm gonna spread them out and to accommodate for the new equipments that I'm getting.
Okay, so if it's going to stay at 13 people, and I'm assuming you're the 14th person.
I'm 13 with me,
Oh,
actually.
13 with
Yeah,
you, okay,
yeah.
great. I know your attorney asked on average. What do you think, how many people do you think you have parking there at any one time?
Customers, I guess.
You know,
right, too.
customers and employees. What do you think your parking capacity is? Do you fill all the spaces?
Well, rarely we do. I mean, on like 13 spots, it's between me and the employees.
Right.
And then, every couple of hours we have a customer. But sometimes, like if the customer is waiting for the repair and another couple of hours, another customer shows up, then we might have like 2 or 3 customers at the same time, like cars parked besides our employees.
So would I be wrong to say that you could probably get by with, instead of 22 spaces, based on your business and your customers, maybe 17, 18 spaces?
I think we could, but you know, the way that I'm looking on my business, how it went from, I used to be in Wayne before I moved to Fairfield in 2018. And my business, like, you know, I used to be in a lot smaller space when I was in Wayne. So 2018, when I got this building and I bought it, it was a big move and a big square footage compared to where I was. And I grew this in 6 years. So that's why I think, you know, like the way that it's planned, and this town has been very, very good for me, like for the customers. They see my building, and then I start getting more customers and more people in my building. So hopefully, you know, like if we keep growing on the same way, I think this extra couple of spots will help my business, just in case if I
Okay.
get more people coming in. You know, in the first two, when we moved into this building, because we were limited to the 12 spots that we have, me and my brothers, actually, because I work, me and my two other brothers and you know, sister-in-law, so we're all like kind of family and employees. We used to park on the street just to let my employees you know, park in the parking lot to leave a space for my customers when they move in. So hopefully I don't want to go back to where I have to walk 10-15 minutes you know, to come to my business, because I don't have enough space for the customers.
Fair enough, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I just had a question. You had mentioned jewelry store.
Sure.
Do you sell jewelry in?
We do.
So you have, in addition to repairing of watches and customized watches, you sell jewelry?
Yes, we do.
And what type of jewelry is that?
Well, it's there's some custom jewelry that we do and we sell in our showcases, and then there's from the market. I mean, there's few manufacturers that they do jewelries, and we buy from them just to display in our showcases.
So that's in addition to the watch repair?
Exactly. Exactly.
We have the new site plan here, but it doesn't tell the story. What happened between the original approval and this that we need to know?
Okay.
We went from 55%, which is allowed, of the impervious coverage, and now we're at 68%. And in a town like this, where water and flooding is a big issue, that's never usually approved. But there have been no applications for expansion of parking spaces, nor for the patio. So explain that.
Sure. So when I originally bought the building in 2018, I bought it, wasn't done. I bought it like a shell, and then I had to finish everything inside and outside. And after I bought it, I learned that I need to put a water storm system in place. The old owner didn't do. So the engineer designed that kind of system with the capacity of the parking lot. And I did mention it back then in 2018, because I had 8 employees like when I moved in. So if the 8 employees are gonna take the whole parking out, and then one handicapped parking spot, it would leave me no room for my customers. I had speaking, like, you know, I spoken with the engineer to add about 9 extra spots. So he said we can add it on the side, and he did the calculation for the water system to include this 9 spots. I did mention it to the town back then that this is my plan, and that's why, like, the requirement of the plan, it was X amount of gallons, like, to hold the water, and I did it bigger to because I was thinking, you know, to add the other 9 spots. So the calculation was done correctly, in addition to you know, whatever I had back then. But of course, the answer I received that still I have to go in front of the board to get it approved and everything else, you know, for the parking spots. So now, because I was 8 total people working there, I didn't feel the need to do something quick. But with the couple of years, and especially after 2020, I hired a couple of more people, and then we start, you know, parking outside the building, you know, to leave spots for my customers. And I start working with the sign company to do the sign, and I wanted to do other things. So I mean, we start preparing. I've been preparing to come and talk to you for about almost over a year and a half ago. Like, you know, gathering between the engineer, the architect.
And what about the patio?
Yeah, so the patio, I start doing this as an improvement for the look of the building, because it was only mulch, and I thought about now having more employees to have with the, you know, somebody to use it in the like a nice weather. And to be honest, I didn't.
That's
think-
not what was approved, though. You realize that now.
Well, I did. I do now, yes, realize that it wasn't approved. And I didn't know that I really needed a permit for landscape. You know, I call it landscape. Engineer, they call it something else. They call it, you know, so I understand now that I needed.
For
to
the
come
parking spaces and the patio.
landscape, yep, the patio. Yep.
But you had just said that you knew you had to come back to get the parking, but you never did.
No, I did it since a year and a half. I mean, I've been
No,
planning.
no, what I'm
but
saying is, you put it in,
Yes.
and you knew you had to come back to get permission to put it in.
Exactly. I put it in while I was preparing this,
Well, yeah,
because
but-
I
but
couldn't,
that's not
I
how-
couldn't
that's-
wait. I couldn't
That's
wait.
not how it works, come on.
I mean, you know, believe me, I've been working on this to come and see you for a year and a half. You know, I've been, my meeting has been postponed for 4 months already, like, no, 3 months. Like, I was scheduled to come in June, and then it was postponed in July, postponed to August, and now to September. And I'm a business owner, and I have employees, and I need to accommodate my customers.
But you did.
So I did what I think, you know, I hired the professionals to hopefully to get it approved. But in the meantime, I did what the business, I thought, you know, what helped my business going, you know.
We have a problem, though, with the impervious at that rate.
It was a nice, listen, it was a nice dance you just did. I liked it. I'll probably see another one tonight on TV, but that's neither here nor there. You know, it's just, you know, that's the problem today. People just, and I'm glad your business is growing, and I'm glad you needed those other 8 spots, but all you had to do is come in and see Mr. Burry.
But I wanted to come
No,
to
no,
see
no, no,
them.
no,
Okay.
let me stop.
Okay,
You wanted to come, but you never came. You built it. How many years ago?
about 2 years ago.
Okay, so we're only talking about 3 months now. So you're talking about building it 2 years ago. You should have been here 2 years ago. You should have came here and said, Mr. Burry, how do I go about this? You would have came before the board. You would have stated your case, and we probably would have said, Mr. Shammy, go for it. Now, let me just finish, okay? Let me just finish, because this will help your experts. You built parking spaces, increased the impervious coverage. You built a whole big hardscape back there for your customers to sit out in the blazing hot sun and get roasted because there's no shade. So I don't know how that's helping your customers in the nice weather. And you increased the impervious coverage. You blew it out of the water.
Well, I mean, you said 3 months, but I've been working on it for over a year
No,
and
it
a
doesn't
half
matter how
ago.
long you've been working on it. You built it 2 years ago. You should have been here before you built it. And your attorney will tell you that too. Anyway, let's move on.
Next.
Any additional comments? Next witness?
There's no one from the public, so there's no one from the public.
Ah, anybody from the public wish to make a comment? Seeing no hands, we'll move on.
Thank you. My next witness is the architect for the project.
Sir, could you raise your right hand? You swear affirm testimony you're about to give before the board is true, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
For the record, can you state and spell your name?
Ali Qureshi. Qureshi is Qureshi.
And you're a licensed architect?
Yes,
And all your licenses are in full force and effect in the state of New Jersey?
yes, they are.
And you've been qualified either before this board or other boards in the state of New Jersey?
Not in front of this board, but I
Other
have
boards.
been qualified.
And you've been qualified as an expert?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, the witness has been qualified as an expert.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have the witness having been qualified as an expert, I'm going to ask the witness to give a description of the proposed construction of the property.
Do you want to mark this?
Don't mark
This is a new rendering, which was not given to the board before.
A1?
A1. Renderings of what the property may look like when it's built.
Thank you.
No, not now. It will be.
Yeah, you have it. Can you have two signs or one?
Okay, Ali, could you describe for us the construction, the proposed construction?
Yes, let me just quickly go over the changes in the existing building. So on the first floor, on the first sheet, I have the basement floor plan. This building has a partial basement. It's for the employee use only. Some lunch area, bathrooms, lockers, and mechanical area. So it's primarily just for the employees. This area is a crawl space, so it's unusable space. Okay, so this shaded walls are the new construction. So we are putting an elevator and a little area for the elevator lobby. And this elevator will go all 3 floors. Let me just go to the ground floor. So this is the ground floor. And this is an addition to the ground floor. Rest is all existing the way it is. No changes are proposed on the layout of the ground floor. We are just adding this portion. It has an elevator and a little bit, small elevator lobby. And then this is the second floor, which is gonna cover the whole ground floor. And it's not gonna go beyond the ground floor area. So it's gonna just follow the perimeter of the existing ground floor area. And basically it's all for expansion of this business, like Mr. Shami explained. From the elevations point of view, basically the building is up to this point and we're just pulling it up and keeping it a very modern looking building, even though the drawings show the stucco finish, but Mr. Shami is also thinking about metal composite type of a finish, which will be similar to stucco. This rendering show beige color. He may choose to have some kind of silver, gray, or something like that. And of course, the board.
You have no samples?
No, we don't have it at this time. But I should be happy to provide you with another rendering with the new colors and also a little piece of metal which is going to go on the outside.
So you realize that that was one of the points that was made in the memo? That you were supposed to bring renderings of what the building is to look like? Because we can't approve something that may look like this or may look like that, along with samples.
We need material samples.
Well, I could not get, I just got this memo, and I worked all day to create this rendering. And basically, the building look is gonna be what exists right now, except it's gonna be pulled up.
The memo was from September 4th.
I
And you're
just received it.
and you're testifying that you may change the color, you may not change the color.
Well, we're gonna take board's recommendations if
We don't
they-
design the buildings.
Well, if this is the color which is, which the board, it's acceptable to the board, we will stick with this color.
We don't even have a sample of it.
Mr. Gasparini, if I may, we actually only received all the reports very recently. And so it gave us a lot shorter time period. I realize some of these reports were dated much earlier. But we only received them very, very recently.
But you expect us to approve a plan that you just testified that the owner doesn't even know what color he's going with, or whether the material is gonna be some kind of metal metallic or stucco? How do we do that?
Well, I think, yeah, we can't do that. You're absolutely right. I think we need to go with the plan as we proposed it here, and with that facade, and if something is different, we'd have to come back to the board for an amendment to the approval.
Track record's a little funny.
So the footprint is going to, in itself, increase
The elevator on the back.
Yes, just.
the impervious,
Yes,
or the pervious. It's going to increase it by whatever amount you applied that little.
well, they have a Bilco basement door here, so, which is impervious to begin with. So we're gonna actually
Oh, it is.
cover a little bit more, which is landscaped area. But the site engineer will go over the numbers with you.
Not to change it.
Okay, you can continue.
Ali, may I have to ask a question here? You reviewed the report from the fire department?
Yes. We will, I agree with all these, and I will work with the fire department to satisfy all of his concerns.
And you're referring to the report, it's stamped, it says, date submitted for review, and it says return to engineering department by 4/24. Is this, that's the report you're referring to?
Yes,
These 4 items that are listed here?
yes,
So your testimony is you'll satisfy the requirements of the fire department?
yes, we will.
Okay, I'm interrupting your testimony.
Well, that's pretty much it for the design. But if you guys have any questions, I'd be happy to answer that.
I have a question on the impervious coverage you're talking about. There is an addition in the back, of which you said there's gonna be an elevator and a lobby. So how many square feet is that gonna add to the impervious original?
Well, the total addition is 103 square feet.
Okay,
And
what about the pavers in the back,
The patio?
patio? Did you include that in your impervious coverage too?
Well, the site engineer is going to testify and go over all the. He has all the numbers.
Any more questions?
Open it to the public.
Any other questions?
Open it to the public for questions.
I just have one. What is the actual color of this rendering?
This is beige.
Beige?
Yes.
And there's, I think, trim, stone trim at the bottom and around the windows.
It looks like there's cultured stone on the base, on the foundation, and a different color on the stucco trim around the windows and the sills.
And the cornice above?
Yes.
Yes.
So is it your intentions to match existing, or are you gonna put a second floor in this building and recreate something?
Basically, initially we started with the same color. Of course, the new stucco is not going to match with the existing one, so we were going to paint the whole thing.
Similar color, or you
Yeah.
you don't know?
I mean, similar color, and if they choose to change it to another material, then of course they have to come in front of the board. For now, it's stucco, similar color.
Are the details around the windows, is that gonna be a different beige,
Yes,
darker
it's going to
beige?
be slightly darker frames, and also the crown molding will be the same as the moldings around the windows and doors.
And the windows are black aluminum?
Yes.
And the signage on this building is indicative of what is going to be there? The,
Yes, in this rendering, we showed what exists at this point. So we're going to reuse that signage.
Is there gonna be any air condition or heating systems on the rooftop?
Yes. So we will follow whatever the zoning ordinance is to basically hide those units, but they're going to be on the roof.
Will they be toward the front of the building or toward the back of the building?
Well, they're going to be rooftop, and they're going to be mounted towards the middle of the building, so they cannot be seen from the street level.
You're still gonna enclose around it, even though you're putting it in the middle, or it's not gonna be seen at all?
We're going to have a 3-foot high parapet wall around the roof, so that will also hide it. But if there's any zoning issue about it, we will be happy to provide a fence around it.
I have no further questions. I have no further questions.
Open it to the public.
Open to the public. Next witness, please.
Next witness is our engineer.
Sir, could you raise your right hand? Do you swear affirm testimony you're about to give before the board is true, so help you God?
I do.
And for the record, can you state and spell your name?
David Garval, Garval.
And you're a licensed engineer in the state of New Jersey?
Yes.
All your licenses are in full force and effect? And you've been qualified either before this board or other boards in the state of New Jersey?
Other board, yes.
Mr. Chairman, the witness is qualified as an engineer.
Thank you. May proceed.
Thank you, David. David, could you describe to the board the general overview first, and then we can get into more of the details here of what our site plan is, our proposed site plan is?
Okay. So basically, we have a start with a survey of the existing conditions, showing the additional parking and the pavers outside in the back, and the retention system. For discussion with the town engineer, we understand that some of the parking spots are too close to the property line, so we're proposing the new design that will help take out those kind of variances, the parking distance from property line that is on,
Do we have that?
that's what you have on your plan.
That's what we have?
Yeah, but
Is this a new plan?
this is the plan that you should have.
Okay, what's the date of the plan that you're testifying from?
That's 11/9/23. That's the one you have, that's the one we submitted to the board.
And what
So-
sheet is that?
This is sheet 3, site plan.
Sheet 3? The date on the site plan that I have here is 2/14/23.
You don't have a set of plans here?
214.
This is the one that the chairman has. Oh, and I'm sorry, up here, revisions 11/9/23. 11/9/23.
11/9/23.
Do you have dimensions on yours?
Mine has dimensions on it.
Are they,
Dimensions as it relates to what, Jim?
Property line, parking.
Well, it shows 9 foot by 18 on the additional parking stalls, right?
Well, not on the as-built. That's the problem.
Freestanding sign shows 11.4, 11.1, 25 feet off on the sign.
Dave, you're on page 3.
Jennifer.
Yeah,
Does it show the setback?
setback of the property? No, it does not.
You mean the front line, the
Side
front
yard.
setback?
Oh, yes, it does, 25.3. It does, it's grayed out.
Parking setback.
Oh, parking
He
setback.
said
I'm
he
sorry.
corrected the things that were in the,
Yep.
Yeah.
So basically, we are trying to accommodate Mr. Berry's comments on the setback from property line, and also at the same time trying to address slight additional drainage requirement, so we meet all drainage requirement on the site. And we're showing the proposed 2 additional parking spots to meet the 22 parking spot requirement. So that's basically what we're showing on this plan here.
But you're not showing the parking spot setback. You're saying you're trying to accommodate Mr. Berry's thing about the.
So, David, I just confirm, I think it was happening, what you indicated, the parking spots that were built without a prior approval were actually over the property line. Correct.
And we
Now you're adjusting them to what I could tell, since there's not a setback line, they appear to be on the property line.
Okay, so.
Is that
yes, and
correct?
Now we want to propose, put them 4 feet back from the property line.
So,
That's-
so you're
we don't
proposing
have
them
that.
now 4 feet
Correct,
from the property line. Is that
correct.
what's shown on the site plan?
No.
Revise 11.9, it appears to be showing it right on the property line.
So, okay, so maybe that's a plan that was updated per your comments.
Okay, but we don't have that.
Okay,
Do you have that here as an exhibit?
I have it as here as an exhibit.
Okay, so this is not the site plan that we reviewed or that the board has.
This is,
Okay.
Just addressing your letter.
Okay, so I haven't seen this plan.
So,
Now
I'm
I understand.
I'm just confused. Is that a new site plan that we don't have?
to my understanding now, yes.
Well, what's the date of that site plan, sir?
So that's the same date that was just updated
So
for
they made a
the
change, but didn't change the revision date.
They didn't make a revision.
That's-
They made modifications, but no revision.
So you modified this after you received a report late last week or early this week?
Yes.
Okay.
We had our conversation.
Revision, you should have had a copy and a revision date you present to the board.
What are we looking at?
Zero.
Mr. Maneri has
Sir,
to
I-
come back.
There's a few issues.
So that, the documents that the board has does not indicate that you moved the parking spaces 4 foot from the
Correct.
property,
Yes,
correct?
that's why the town, the town
But-
engineer.
So the board does not have your proposed
Yeah,
new changes.
I gotta
I'd-
interrupt here a minute. Go ahead,
Okay.
Steve.
No, yeah, I suggest, I don't know if the board would want to hear of the changes, but we haven't had a time to review it. And
No.
I suspect when you're adjusting it, you're going to be changing driveway aisles. There might be, I think the professionals need a time to review it in more detail than just presenting here. You know, I don't know if the board wants to hear of the changes at this point.
And I would,
guess
I
that's up
would
to you, but.
suggest when you come back that there's something that addresses the impervious. There has to be a way to get that impervious down. I have really no issue with the second floor. As from what I can see, it's gonna be exactly what he needs, it's perfect. But the other issues need to be addressed, and we need to see something. We can't just go on what you're telling us. We need to see the plan, our engineer has to see it and, validate it to us. That's my recommendation.
And it has to have time for them to, our professionals have to review that for a
And
backup.
We really
And I think as the mayor
require.
said, I think the main issue, the major issue is the impervious. That has to be addressed because, it doesn't seem possible to be able to exist at a 68%,
And the-
coverage, the way it is.
The facade.
And the build, I'm sorry, Mayor.
That's okay, I was just gonna say the facade needs to be addressed. We have to nail that down. It can't be maybe this color, maybe that color. I understand that when you apply the new second story with new stucco, obviously, 5-year-old stucco may not match, so you're gonna have to paint it, but we need to know if in fact it's stucco. We need to know the material, and we need to know the color.
Sample, yes. Okay.
And there was testimony that it may be a metal type, so it behooves the owner, I'm sure he's gonna invest in this, he wants it done the right way the first time.
We could, we'd certainly be willing to make the changes, submit them to the board as appropriate. And if we come back before the board and have proper amended plans, and of course, submit them well in advance for review.
Perfect. So you wanna carry this then?
Yes, I would like to carry it with just one question to the board, and that's with respect to the sign, because if there's issue with the sign, we'd like to address those also. So if we come back and there's sign issues.
Well, did you get the report on the sign, the requirement?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that we have, yes. So if we needed to address the signs, we could address that at another meeting, or at our next meeting, but I would like to carry the meeting, yes.
So are we talking about the sign in any capacity?
I think we're just gonna carry it, and he's gonna look at what the comments were about the sign, and then just come back with a revised version of whatever you're gonna do here. I'm sorry, Mr. Shammy, but in all due respect, the plans weren't submitted with the revisions, and we have nothing to look at or to even, like Councilman LaForge just said, or the mayor, that's great that you're moving them off the thing, but now the drive aisle gets smaller. All this has to be reflected on the plan, just to make sure that everything works and that the fire department is still good with it, because now the driveway got narrower. It's just that it was a snowball effect.
Yeah, and make sure you need the 22 spaces that you're putting in there. It'll help you with the impervious, especially those 2 that are angled, that you're gonna take away more of the mulch and more of the impervious on the entrance drive aisle. Just make sure you need what you have there, and if you have to cut down your patio, you may have to do that too. We have to get We have
May
to
I-
try and conform or get at least closer. 68%, that would probably never be allowed.
Mayor, if I may, comment on the parking.
Sure.
They're showing compliance to
I know.
support that. So if they reduce,
we
they
will-
reduce the parking, they will need to request that variance,
That
which is
variance-
something that is within the purview of the board.
Yes, and the variance that, and we do that at various times.
I understand. The other alternative is to provide a banked parking, and if it's needed, put it in.
Sure.
If not, that way they can
But I
still
want to see
comply.
numbers with the,
Understood.
with the banked parking and without it, what the difference in impervious is.
May I ask one question?
Of course.
Of the engineer? The patios that were constructed in the back without approval, how much impervious coverage did that add to the site?
It's about 900 square feet.
Okay,
about 5%.
okay, about 5%. It's something to look at. Because had it been presented in advance prior to construction, the board would have had the opportunity to say yes, yea, or nay, or modified the patio to some other number. So it's going to be important to get a handle on the impervious coverage numbers, because knowing this community, impervious coverage is a very sensitive issue. The only other thing I request is full sign dimensioning even for the building, being that that's going to be apparently revised somehow, just for the architect, the dimensions of the signage that's on the building now. I have the freestanding sign dimensions, although I wasn't clear whether the base was, the freestanding monument sign, whether the base was included in the total height, if you can clarify that, just to avoid some misunderstanding later. Because the other thing is, on your existing conditions map, you don't label the patios, and they didn't show up on the aerials. You may need, it should, if you're gonna have an existing conditions map, it should label what the existing conditions are, including the patio area, so it's clear what it is we're dealing with. That's all, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Mayor.
Also, just make sure your revision dates are accurate. That's important. Any changes are reflected in a revision date.
So your client going to consent to carry this?
Yes, client consents to carry, yes.
To a particular.
October 8th is the next regular meeting.
So there'd be a motion to carry this with no further notices to October 8th.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. LaForge, second by Mr. Gasparini.
Mayor Galise.
Aye.
Mr. Gasparini.
Aye.
Councilman LaForgia.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Waldron.
Aye.
Mr. Spila.
Yes.
Mr. Moreno.
Aye.
Mr. Dutcher.
Aye.
See you soon.
Thank you.
Discussion item
Yeah.
on the ordinance.
We have a discussion item on the agenda, ordinance to amend and supplement chapter XLB zoning of the Township of Fairfield, Essex County, New Jersey, amending the residential zone overlay number 1, RZO-1, to limit residential development.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I was approached by the township through Mr. Gasparini to look at the density issues that arose as a part of the Kingsbridge development and the RZO in general, because it appears that these sites are starting to max out. Certainly the one behind Kingsbridge is maxed out, and this site's maxed out, and then there's one other RZO zone on Fairfield Court. And the approach I recommended, which is reflected in the ordinance, is that we just, we cap the total number of units. So it's a combination of, and the change would be maximum density. It's not going to be just dwelling unit per acre. It's going to, shall not exceed 13 dwelling units per acre or 102 units in any, for any total, for any development site, whichever is less. Now, how did I come up with the 102? The Fairbanks, or what's the name of that? Fair King, sorry, in the back is at 99. Kingsbridge is at 101. And when you look at the other RZO zone, does not have the land area that would support anything close to 102 units. So these are absolute maximums. It caps the development. What happens if someone comes in that exceeds the 102? It then is a density variance, D5 under the land use law. D4 is FAR, if I remember. D5 is density. They would have to go to the Board of Adjustment and justify it as a use variance. Now, outside of the D1s, the FAR variances and the density variances and the height variances tend to have a more relaxed standard under the Coventry decision. However, you still have to meet that standard of whether the site can accommodate the deviations, but also the fact that you have to meet the negative criteria. And if the Board of Adjustment looks at a development and determines that it's too much, that the 100 and plus over what the ordinance permits is excessive and causes these negative impacts, parking, traffic, congestion on site, light air issues, whatever, the board has the ability to look at those issues and then say, we're sorry, you've maxed out that site. Or they can modify it, they can fit it in, but it gives the township control for future development. I looked at other particular standards, but the standards that are in the ordinance are fairly strict as it is. So I think that this is going to be the answer to how many units can you actually get in the RZO on a particular property. And if you remember, the one RZO off of Kingsbridge is all one site now. It's all been consolidated. So that's it. I mean, they would have to get a use variance if they wanted to add any more units. So that was the approach. I thought it was simple, but effective in terms of how to deal with when is too much development too much.
And if Kingsbridge wanted to take one of the existing commercial buildings and either knock it down or add to it and turn it into residential, it would exceed it then?
It's exactly correct, and they'd have to go to the Board of Adjustment and justify it. Now, maybe on that basis, there may be some justification, but that, we can't presume. That's going to be very dependent on testimony, facts, and meeting the statutory criteria, both the positive and the negative. I'm not closing the door to that possibility, but it does give it another level of review, in my opinion.
Is there any exposure? I mean, the 102 seems like an arbitrary number since it's not based on the size of the property.
No, I don't believe so, because we maintain the 13 dwelling unit per acre, which is already the standard, and the 102 is close to that 13 unit to the acre. So, you know, it just enumerates numerically what the maximum number is. And I've done that in development ordinances before in other communities.
Okay.
Can it be challenged? Anything.
Well, yeah, you could challenge
anything.
anything.
Can. You know, I don't like it. Again, it's not precluding someone from coming in and proposing something. It just creates a different jurisdictional venue, and it also then creates a different statutory criteria. That's all. And if they could satisfy it, that's up to the reviewing board and the applicant to hash out.
It's better than not having it.
Yes.
No.
It lays out specifics that the board can look at to make sure that, as the planner has stated, that parking is not an issue, that traffic is not an issue, air, light, all those good things that you're supposed to look at when you make these decisions. So it helps.
Yeah, and there are whereas clauses that help provide some intent behind what the concerns are. I like to embellish ordinances that I'm involved with whereas, because it provides some legislative history to what the concerns are. It doesn't have to be exhaustive. The mayor and council will discuss this, and there'll be minutes recorded for the reasons there too. But the whereas is also explained that the RZO1 zones are now largely developed, and we want to be able to address concerns regarding parking, traffic, congestion, and all of those things. That's the very last whereas. So it gives the Board of Adjustment, should someone come in with an application, as you've described, knocking down they've got to address these whereases as part of the negative criteria, in my opinion. The positive criteria for the D3, the D4, 5, and 6 are fairly relaxed. It's the negative criteria that you can focus on, and that's the whereases.
Okay, thanks.
So this is being referred to under 26A. So the role of the board with respect to this ordinance, whenever, under the municipal land use law, section 26A, anytime there's a development regulation, such regulation shall be referred to the planning board. And it's what it is, it's a coordinating mechanism so that the right hand knows what the left hand is doing. And the charge for the planning board is to determine whether there are any provisions in the ordinance that are inconsistent with the master plan. So what the first determination is, are there any inconsistencies that you need to point out? Otherwise, you would make a motion to say this is not inconsistent. It's a little confusing, it's the language. Because if you wrote it, if the land use law was written that the ordinance has to be consistent with the master plan, well, then you're handcuffed. At that point, you know, that's a much different standard than finding that it's not inconsistent. The second opportunity for the board is if there are comments or concerns, you can express those as recommendations to the council, and then the council is free to determine whether they want to adopt those recommendations or not. And you have 35 days to make those comments. Otherwise, the council is free to adopt a public hearing. Go ahead.
So we would pass the board, if they choose to agree with the change, they would send a resolution back to the governing body. And the governing body would then go through their process to codify it in an ordinance.
In the interest of time, I also know some boards direct their planning board attorney to write a letter saying it's been reviewed.
I was gonna
and-
suggest, if
or
you think the council
secretary.
meeting is gonna come up
Not
in the second
inconsistent
reading.
with our
Yeah,
master
we don't-
plan.
Prior,
Agreeable
convenient
to the
in
board.
accordance
Or you
with
could
the-
direct the board secretary to so advise the council.
So we need a motion.
Right
There
now,
should be
we're
a
gonna
motion.
make a motion to either pass this on to the mayor and council, correct?
That it's not
That
inconsistent.
it is not
inconsistent with the master plan.
inconsistent, okay.
And if you have any other recommendations.
I'll
If
make a
not-
motion, Mr. Chairman, to pass this on to the mayor and council because it is not inconsistent with our master plan.
There you go.
I'll second that.
Who was that? Mr. Druckers, Councilman LaForgia,
Tom, just ask if there's any comments.
are there any additional comments from the board?
Thank you, Tom.
Mayor Galise,
Aye?
Mr. Gasparini,
Aye?
Councilman LaForgia,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Waldron,
Aye.
Mr. Spila,
Yes.
Mr. Moreno, Mr. Dutcher.
Aye.
Okay, we have a bill, one bill to pay. Can I have a motion to pay the bill? Mr. Moreno,
Second?
second, Mr. Gasparini. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Is there any other business to?
Is there another bill, the New Jersey plan?
No,
or
that's
one?
it,
Okay.
that's something you get in your package. Is there, any additional to come before the board? Hearing none, can I have a motion for adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
Councilman LaForgia,
I'll second it.
second by Mr. Spila.
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Anybody who doesn't want to